Greetings! Edward Darkslade here from Darkslade Diaries on YouTube. But wait! Hold! We are not here to promote Darkslade Diaries on YouTube. We're here to introduce the viewer takeover on PSVR without parole. So please welcome AJ, Dave, and of course Brian Paul, the only person who does reviews that I actually listen to. Because he doesn't sound like a freaking megalomaniac, I think. Maybe I'm thinking of someone else. Anyway, there's no self-promotion here. This is for PSVR without parole. Viewer takeover.
You lying son of a...
That's not a real signal. You're making a beeping sound.
I know. This is Viewer Takeover. We film every single Monday night and bring it to YouTube every single Tuesday or Wednesday whenever we feel like it. My name is Brian Paul from this channel right here, PSVR without parole, and the gentleman to my right, the boys, Dave from Dave Station for VR.
You can't see it right out of frame. There's actually a giant stack of cash that Disney just mailed me over. Finally, they paid me for that Vader Immortal opinion, and I'm so glad to see that it looks like $1 million. I can't even tell. They got a lot of money, but thank you guys so much.
That's what we need. That's what we need. We need to perpetuate the rumor. And that guy on the right-hand side of the screen, AJ from the Underground, PSVR Underground.
Now I bet you're wishing you would have kept the intro about washing your balls.
Yeah,
Wash your balls, AJ.
that one was
Right.
way better. I can't believe we didn't keep the awful intro in favor of the even worse intro. Guys,
man.
every week here on
This is
Viewer Takeover, we like to thank a lot of people. In the first person, we want to thank Edward Darkslade from Darkslade Diaries on YouTube with that fantastic Viewer Takeover introduction.
oh my god, that was great. I really liked that intro a lot.
AJ, do you like that intro too?
That was a fantastic intro.
Yeah.
But we have to
So-
make sure there is
so
no
buttery.
self-promotion.
Yes.
Not go
Self-promotion.
to Darkslade Diaries on YouTube.
Absolutely
Do not
not.
buy a shirt and a hat.
Mm-mm.
Don't buy a shirt.
SLAD
Whatever
Don't
you
buy
do.
DIARIES. Do not go there. Whatever you do. I went there and it was pretty funny. And yeah, he just shows off a bunch of random cool shit and chills and talks, and I like his style.
If you want to introduce next week's Viewer Takeover, make sure you send your short, sweet, seductive, I guess self-promoting video to withoutparole@gmail.com. But of course, Edward's not the only person we want to thank. We also want to thank these amazing, illustrious people down here. These are people who went to patreon.com/withoutparole. And they're the ones giving us $1 or more every single month because they love us almost as much as we love them. So please consider supporting the channel. AJ, who else do we want to thank, though?
Brian, Dave, Game Cats, Edward Darkslade. We would like to thank those who also support us by changing their name to something Game Cat related, something Game Cat adjacent, as you, Brian, and something Game Cat adjacent would like to say. And this week we have 3 new Game Cats to welcome to the Game Cat Dojo.
Big haul. Baker's dozen.
Starting with XD the Cold #Game Cat.
God damn it,
is this
Hotcakes.
Hotcakes?
Of course it's Hotcakes.
It is Hotcakes.
Yeah, he's on a roll, man. He's on a roll. He's keeping it up, and I can't fault him for it.
No, I was trying to find out his real initials,
Yeah.
and then it just
XD,
This is what it's evolved to.
XD. Yeah,
XD the Cold. XD the Cold.
Xavier
Donald.
Dingle.
Maybe.
Xavier Dingle, I think, is his name.
Dingle?
Xavier.
I don't think anyone's named Dingle.
No, it's his last name Dingle because he's got such a cool first name, Xavier. Last name Dingle.
Xavier is pretty cool in the first name.
There you
We've
go.
also got C. Murphy, the Game Cat, who I think is Charlie Murphy.
Charlie
so.
Murphy.
Think so.
Charlie Murphy. We used one of his clips, Charlie. We used one of your clips on
We tried to.
Gamescast. Yeah, we tried to. It was for Drunken Bar Fight.
And
Finally, we've got
this is going so
Cassie.
well.
906, the Game Cat.
The Game Cat, capital letters THE.
The
Like the only one out there. Yeah. Passy.
Game Cat.
You think it's an area code 906? He was like, that dude's like so 976. It's not even funny. I
Could
don't know.
be. I don't know. I would never
Was
put
that
like my
even
area
funny?
code.
I don't understand it.
Thank you guys for. I'll explain it to you later. Thank you guys for changing your name to GameCat to support the channel. We appreciate that. If you change your name to GameCat, make sure you put #GameCat in the comments below so we can give you a shout out on next week's show. But of course, thanking a bunch of people isn't the only thing we do here on Viewer Takeover. Dave, what do we actually do here?
Well, we let the viewers take over the show, which is an unusual concept, but essentially they give us questions and we say, okay, we're going to pick these best 3 questions of the week, either from Discord, where we have a dedicated Viewer Takeover channel, and you should be on the Discord anyways, of course. The link is in the description below, whatever, one of those words. And also you can leave it on YouTube with the hashtag Viewer Takeover on any video, and Brian will find them and sift through them, and we will answer them. So the first one comes to us from Robert McAllister GameCat, and this was left on the Wolfenstein Cyberpilot review discussion video. He says, hashtag Viewer Takeover, hashtag it's a thing. I have a friend who bought a PSVR a month ago, and he recently found out that he could change the VR settings in games. Rookie mistake. Jeremy, a seasoned gamer right here on this Why We Love PSVR episode, didn't know he could use the Move controllers in Cyberpilot. And let's not forget the horrible IGN review of Borderlands 2 VR, where the reviewer didn't know how to change the VR settings. Gentlemen, do we need VR developers to take us through the VR settings at the beginning of a game so everyone can know the options available? Or do you think it's up to the gamer to know about the VR settings options? All the best to you guys. That's a big question, a lot of preamble, but it's a good question. So what do you guys think?
No, absolutely not. I don't like doing tutorials unless the game is really complex. I sure as hell don't need a settings thing. Now, if you want to have something come up in the loading screen or something pop up in the beginning where it says you can change options at any time in the settings thing, sure, a little indicator to let you know that there is an options there. But I don't want to have to do that 3 times to go through all the settings manually in the beginning. Absolutely not.
Well, so that's a good point, actually. There's games I've seen that implement exactly what you're talking about. In the initial setup screen, when you boot the game up, it says there's an icon for the DualShock or the moves or whatever, and there's an icon for the aim. And you choose which one at that point, and it lights up, and it says, okay, that's the choice you went with. So that would be great at the beginning of every game, just to tell people, like, hey, even if you don't own the moves, if you had them, you could here select that you want to use them. Although I like being able to hot swap in the middle. So like No Man's Sky, I don't want them to lock you into based on that from the beginning. I would like all the options to be flexible still. Like you can do this, but if I want to pick up a DualShock 4 to fly a spaceship after I've been shooting with my hands, I should be able to do that in real time. Brian, what do you think? You look like you got thoughts.
I think that we should leave Jeremy out of this because as much as I love Jeremy and he might be a seasoned gamer, I was like, we don't hold him to any standards around here whatsoever. Right? So
he's just got to be funny and talk about stuff that's not on topic.
Yeah, so don't worry, But I do agree to an extent. There's certainly hidden options sometimes where you're like, oh, this actually has smooth turning, or like sometimes you can only access VR options from in game. I forget which games I'm thinking of, but I know that there are some where you're actually in the main menu before you start the game, and you're like smooth turning and like speed it up and this and that, whatever, like doing all the things, turn off the vignette. Then you get in the game and something's not right, and you're like, huh? And then you can only change it. I think Immortal Legacy actually has something like this.
Well,
turn speed or something.
Immortal Legacy has the options on the left hand options button.
Right.
Why am I not surprised it's Immortal Legacy?
Right. And I think there's actually some options that you can't even access from the main menu. You can only do it from in game, which is like so dumb, right? It's so dumb. But like, my answer for everything Viewer Takeover is Resident Evil 7, and every time you start that up, it says, "Hey, you're playing in VR mode," and you're like, "Yep." Is it? Do you want to start the VR tutorial? And I'm like, "No, I'm good," and that's it. But there's a VR tutorial there, so that it takes you through and goes, do you like this vignette? Do you need click turning? Do you want smooth turning? And it kind of takes you through and shows you all the different options. And I think that maybe more games need something like that, where it's like, do you want the tutorial? No, I'm good. But if you do, if it's your first time playing the game, yeah, maybe why not? Check it out and see all of the options that are available to you. I know that's a lot of extra work for developers that aren't Capcom, but it might still be a nice option.
It is up to reviewers to play the games, to examine the games thoroughly. You're going to make mistakes sometimes, but this was kind of ridiculous, right? This was a little bit overboard in terms of missing something. So as a reviewer, I think the least you can do is just try and be as thorough as possible.
So
this guy looks like he picked up the game for 5 minutes and then put it back down again.
Let's be clear, he's not talking about Jeremy. He's talking about the IGN guy.
IGN guy.
I mean,
Jeremy's not a professional reviewer. Okay,
Yeah.
he didn't publish a video to a channel with 10 million subscribers.
That's true.
He's just a dude that has extensive video game knowledge and does a talk show. This is way different.
Did you hold me to IGN standards?
Yeah, I have way higher standards for you than I do IGN.
At this point, maybe it should be the case. But yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with options. We're always team options, right? We always say, we want everything to be supported. We want everything for everybody. Teleportation, click turning, smooth turning, whatever you want, right? Full locomotion. And so I think a tutorial for each of these things to show you what all those options are isn't the worst thing ever.
I really wish there was some kind of guidance from Sony HQ before a game gets processed or whatever, or published, where they say do you have smooth turning? Do you have teleportation? Do you have click turning if it has the ability to? Or do you have smooth turning if it has the ability to? I really wish there was somebody there barking orders, being like, well, it's got to at least have just these few small things to pass our certification or to be published. But clearly there is no.
The flip side of that is everybody hates delays, and that would just cause a bunch of delays.
I think people hate not having smooth turning and stuff and smooth more than most people will say. And plus, it ruins a game at launch when it gets all the reviews and stuff. Yeah. And if the game has the options, then that is up to the reviewers to find it. If the reviewers don't find it, then that's a bad reviewer.
Yeah, agreed.
Because then people say, where is this stuff? And they say, well, it's right here. And then it's like, oh, well, it is there. So a little indication is all it needs. So saying you can change the options, or like Brian said, or in the main menu.
Yeah. All right, guys, I think ready for the next question?
Yes, indeed.
All right, I don't know how to pronounce this. I'm going to go with Hade-hoo on the top 25. Oh, is it? Damn, we need more O's. We need more O's in there. Top 25 PSVR list. He writes, "Thank you for all the great videos. I'm looking forward to these all week." I don't know, maybe he's talking about PSVR this week. I don't know. He writes, #viewer takeover from 3 to 1. What are your top 3 PSVR games that are not in your top 25 PSVR games list?
Quite a good question.
Quite a good question.
Fun question, because we all wrote little lists. AJ couldn't contain himself. I think he wrote 10 down. But
do you guys want to start with our? Yeah, we'll start with our number 3 and work our way up.
Okay, yeah, that works.
All right, cool. Well, I'm going to start with Table of Tales. And say,
that's a very good one.
Awesome little tabletop
one of my
RPG.
11.
One of your 11 on the list.
One is 11.
Yeah.
Mine is Accounting Plus.
Oh wow!
I love Accounting Plus. It's so good. It's so entertaining.
My number 3 is Shooty Fruity.
Ah, yes. All right.
That's a really good choice. I think number 2 for me, it's tough, because I also have about 6 or 7 titles written down here. But I'm going to go with Paranormal Activity because you guys know I love horror games. But every time I play that, I go, this is way more polished than I gave it credit for my first time through. And they've definitely done a few patches here and there to give us what we're looking for with smooth turning and whatever. Even DualShock 4 support, which I don't recommend. So number 2, Paranormal Activity.
So my number 2 is Res Infinite. Is one, because I've always loved Res since I was younger on Dreamcast and stuff, but Area X and seeing all this stuff in VR, and it was our first Mizuguchi in VR, good stuff. If you haven't checked it out, Res Infinite.
Agreed.
For the number 2, I would have to say the Solus Project.
Okay. That tracks. That's an AJ answer.
That is definitely a game of mine that it's I love this game to death, and it will never be on a top 20 list. Because it has a little bit of a learning curve and it has some small issues that can potentially become big issues later. But as a sci-fi adventure, it is just fantastic, and it is eerie as hell and scary, and it's just amazing.
It might not ever be on a mainstream top 20 list, but it has certainly been on more than one Without Parole top list before, whether it be top 10 or top 20, I forget.
It was number 1 on the top 5 games you might not have played list.
Oh, also that. Yeah, but it's been on an official top 2020 list though before, or top 10. I forget how long ago. So we've given it the credit that it deserves. Y'all didn't listen. We're never getting a sequel. Number 1, and again, so many good ones to choose from, but I'm going to go with Demo Reborn. Because Demo Reborn is such a great adventure. I love the soundtrack. I love the art design. If you don't never switch into the non-VR mode, you don't know what you're missing. So we'll just skim past that a little bit. But the rhythm stuff isn't like Beat Saber or like Audica style stuff that you want to like play over and over and over and master it. It wasn't for me, at least. It was just like a nice diversion to the main story and all the puzzles. It was just a fun thing to do in between. David?
My number 1 is Transference.
Whoa.
I feel like this is, as far as horror games go, this is my favorite like psychological horror game. There's not that many jump scares, although there are a few. Yeah. But it's just so unsettling and fucking the dog is okay. But the vibe of it, just the way it's delivered, is so unique in VR. We don't have another game like Transference. And when stuff starts going sideways towards the second half of the game, it's really kind of a mind bender. It's pretty insane visually what's going on around you, and even mechanically how you have to get through those sections. So really, really cool stuff. If you haven't seen the Transference and you like creepy, unsettling, a little bit psychological kind of, it's good thing.
Download the Walter test case.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a
demo.
And that's cool because it's a demo that isn't in the game at all. It's a separate thing entirely. So even if you've bought the game and played it, get the demo anyways.
Agreed.
Yeah.
All right. This one's going to hurt because I kind of messed up. I really want to say To the Top here because I think To the Top deserves it. But if I'm being selfish, I'm just going to say GT Sport because I absolutely love the realistic driving sim stuff, and graphically it looks awesome on a Pro. There's tons of content now, and it's got some of the best driving physics ever, and lots of different tracks. So I love just jumping in the car, throwing on some music, and just driving around.
Yeah, I think that actually fits a lot better with a normal top 20, top 25 list. That's one of those heavy hitters you would kind of think, oh, let's put GT Sport in there, whereas To the Top, I could see slipping a little bit.
To the Top is fantastic, man. I've got 100 hours in that game, and I played it co-op. I beat the entire campaign. I've got the Platinum Trophy, actually. And yeah, it is just it really doesn't get enough attention that it deserves because it is just fantastic.
This is bullshit. AJ got an extra game on the list. All right, AJ, as your punishment, you need to read the last question for viewer takeover.
No,
the shortest one. He has to read the easiest question. I had to read like 2 paragraphs.
Got it rough here. Got it rough. All right, last question comes from Brax.bro from the Discord. Says #viewer takeover. Besides Half-Life, Alex, what VR games would you guys like to see brought to PSVR?
This is a tough one, man, because over the years, there have been a lot of games announced that we didn't know what platform they were coming to. There were also games announced for PSVR that eventually got the axe that didn't quite make it over to us. And one in particular has been stuck in my mind, although I got to be honest, it took me like an hour to remember the name of the game today. I had to do a lot of internet searches. And the one I'm thinking of is Seeking Dawn. Seeking Dawn kind of had this promise of being giving us a ton of stuff. It's a first-person shooter, but you were also farming and crafting and doing item management, weapon resources. These are just fucking phrases and stuff from somebody's bullet point list. But it seemed to have everything. And then like they couldn't deliver on PSVR. It never happened. And when it came to PC VR, it didn't really get great reviews. But it's one of those where I was like, I feel like I would still play this anyway, even if it wasn't that great of a game. It's sort of like, it has elements of No Man's Sky, but more of a first-person shooter than No Man's Sky is. And I was like, man, I just feel like I need this game in my life somehow, and I really hope we still see it, or maybe it gets another chance on PS5.
Yeah, co-op too.
Oh, did it? I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Crazy. What about you guys?
So my first one is just to make AJ sad, and it's Star Child. I'm just
I
kidding,
don't
though.
care anymore.
I'm just kidding. My actual answer is it's not even out on PC VR yet, but that Medal of Honor game. I always really enjoyed those games as a kid, and I think they had a kind of a unique take on war games as opposed to these Call of Duties and like Battlefield, and these games approach war in a much different way. Medal of Honor always felt more like realistic, humanistic, like well-rounded as a narrative and stuff like that. So I'm excited to see the series in general coming back. But we got Vader, so I feel like maybe Oculus will throw us a bone and give us Medal of Honor as well, because that would be great.
Be nice to have like a year or two later down the line exclusive thing.
Yeah.
Timed exclusive. So I'm gonna go with, I'm really starving for a new RPG, and I've heard so much about Asgard's Wrath. I don't actually know like a whole lot about it, other than it's like 20 plus hours. It's like really ambitious, and it's just a fantastic RPG. So I know little about it.
You should also know that I just bought a new computer and upgraded my graphics card, and I doubt that I would be able to run this game properly.
Wow.
It's like a beast of a hog, if that makes any sense. It takes up resources.
Yeah. Well, that would be the game. Like I said, just craving another RPG and something with some deep leveling and all this. And yeah, that would have to be 110% Asgard's Wrath for me.
Yeah. And it's funny, a lot of these that we're bringing up are Oculus exclusives, like they funded them. Not just stuff that happens to be on PC that isn't here yet. Which I think goes to show that, as much as we say Sony's kicking ass with exclusives, and they are.
Oculus is doing well too.
Oculus has some good games. I just don't think they have the IP behind it, except for Vader, obviously. But some of this other stuff doesn't really have the IP behind it. But
I would be totally down for swapping some VR games, absolutely, with Oculus.
Yeah.
As long as they're better ports than Vader Immortal.
Right.
Yeah.
100% agree.
Stormland would be a great one too. Insomniac developed that, and it's kind of, Brian, like you said, along the lines of like it's got the first-person shooter stuff, but it's got interesting other mechanics that kind of round it out. And that one's got co-op as well. That would be a great one to see.
Nice. All right, you guys running a little bit long here, so we should probably wrap this up. Make sure you submit your viewer takeover questions either on our Discord, which you should, as Dave said earlier, you should already be there. Man, click the link in the description, join our Discord, and then once you're there, leave your viewer takeover questions and hashtag viewer takeover channel. Also, if you don't want to join Discord because you're not any fun at all, make sure you leave your viewer takeover question in the comments below with the hashtag viewer takeover, all one word. We'll check it out. We'll find those maybe, and if you're unlucky, we'll use it next week. Also, change your name to GameCat. Nope, that wasn't a request, that was a demand, and then let us know in the comments below with the hashtag GameCat. That's also one word, and we'll give you a shout out in next week's show. Send your viewer takeover introductions with thatparole@gmail.com. Make sure you subscribe to Dave over at Dave Station VR. Subscribe to AJ over at The Underground, PSVR Underground. My name is Brian Paul from this channel right here. This was Viewer Takeover, and we're out. Darkslade Diaries on YouTube with that fantastic viewer takeover introduction.
Oh, I forgot to watch it. I'm going to watch it right now, and then edit me having a reaction into this after AJ says something.
No. Just wait for Dave to watch it, and then we'll just pick it up.
You guys talk amongst yourselves.
Yeah, no,
keep it all in. We're keeping it all in.
No, we're not. We're just waiting.
All right.
This is actually the outro.
I can't even hear him.
From Darkslade Diaries on YouTube. But wait! Hold! We are not here to promote Darkslade Diaries on YouTube. We're here to introduce the viewer takeover on PSVR without parole. So please welcome AJ, Dave, and of course Brian Paul, the only person who does reviews that I actually listen to, because he doesn't sound like a freaking megalomaniac. Maybe I'm thinking of someone else. Anyway, there's no self-promotion here. This is for PSVR without parole. Viewer takeover.
You lying son of a